What's up, DBs? Coach D Magic here, former D1 defensive back. It's time to talk about Travis Hunter. A lot of people have opinions on this young man. I have held myself back from giving my opinion publicly on him because I just wanted to see how things played out. Now, privately, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. This was my opinion of Travis Hunter before watching him in training camp. I personally, if I was a coach, I was going to play him more on offense. Not because, well, I'll get into the reason. The reason why is because if I'm Jacksonville, I want points, I want tickets, I need touchdowns, okay? So if I were to play him predominantly on defense, right? How does that help Trevor Lawrence? How does that help us put more points on the board? Because I believe that he can outjump a lot of guys when it comes to high point in the football, and he's just a explosive weapon on the offense. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play him on offense first because I need touchdowns, and that was my rationale. And then if I were to play him on defense, right, I would put him in certain packages, right, certain personnel packages. So if I have a nickel package, dime package, right, I can put him in there on third down or whatever, and let him get his feet wet there. Um, but then I started to think about it, and that's after like a bunch of people on the internet said I was the dumbest person in the world for that. I started to think about it, and I'm like, okay, I can play him on defense, as much as I play him on offense, but I would just play a lot more zone than man. The reason being is I think zone is his strong suit because um, watching him in college, whenever he was in man a lot, all right, he did give up a lot of deep balls. And then if I'm just trying to conserve his energy, right, it is really tough to play man all game just as a DB, okay? So I would play him like Trevon Diggs. I would let him play in a lot of zone situations where I can read the quarterback, where I can use my length, use my God gifted ability to play the ball in the air to make plays and, like I said, conserve that energy. But after watching him in training camp, I'm like, man, I think he can do it all. I seriously think he can do it all. The one thing that I was looking at is I didn't think his footwork was the cleanest. Okay. We know that he can play the ball. I didn't think his footwork was the cleanest, but watching this, right, even though this is a simple backpedal drill, okay, we got a good 1-2 stick. 1-2 stick. We're getting out of there. I would keep my chin a little more tucked so that I can get a little bit more momentum getting out of there. But all these other guys are DBs. This seems like a simple drill, but he's getting out of there just as clean as everybody else that's predominantly just a DB. And then I wanted to see, all right, how could his hips or how could he transfer his hips? I like this play right here. All right. Scooch technique, good drive on the football. All right. Good discipline here. All right. Driving to the football, driving to the man, I'm sorry. 2 steps to the man, 2 to the man, and then getting our eyes back. He understands the defensive back principles, all right? He played under Deion Sanders. He should understand the bare minimum principles like driving to your man out of your break. And then on this play, right? Like you could play quarters. You could play a lot of bail with him, but he does a good job in man, right? And my thing was like, I'm so technical on this channel that I'm like, he doesn't have the technique to be able to consistently stay with guys, right? But if you put him in the right scheme, which I'm sure they are, they're going to have to scheme around him or build the scheme around him, okay, to his strengths, all right? Because in a perfect world, right, we don't open the gate. We want to kick slide, which is what I always say. He doesn't do any of that, but can he run? Yes. He's staying with the receiver. He has length. And a lot of times your length can make up for technical deficiencies. So, for instance, Sauce Gardner doesn't have the cleanest technique in the world. All right, he's no Patrick Surtain, but neither is Trevon Diggs. But they're both long corners who can make up for their deficiencies with technique by just getting close, staying close. If I'm close to you, all right, now it becomes a 50-50 ball, okay? And I'm a receiver, all right? I'm a receiver in a DB's body. So at the end of the day, I think he can do it. A lot of people are saying, how can this skinny guy tackle someone like Derrick Henry? Well, there aren't too many corners who can tackle Derrick Henry outside of one-on-one, outside of Jalen Ramsey, right? All these guys are like smaller framed guys. Like, and plus, no one wants that smoke really with Derrick Henry. So like, don't use that, don't use that running back as a comp to say can he or can't he. But after seeing him in practice, man, and this is something that I'm looking at as well. Like when we do this, right? You're never really gonna flip your hips like this, flip, flip, flip. But I'm just seeing like, is he stiff? Can he stay on that white line, right? Flip, stay on that white line. Flip, stay on that white line. Flip again. Can we stay on that white line? All right, he has a little bit of a stumble. Everybody does. I've watched Jair Alexander literally do this in a prior clip, and it looked just like this, okay? So he's showing that he has the necessary athleticism to play the DB position. I really just think you have to scheme around him, guys. So I'm changing my tune a little bit. Again, I'm going to be 100. After seeing him give up like 300 yards against that dude versus Stanford, after seeing him get beat, at Colorado, I was like, I don't know if his technique's going to hold up, but put him in the right scheme, okay? Give him the necessary reps, or I would say play count on offense and defense. I like the Jags' decision to say, hey, we're primarily playing him as a receiver. I want points. But then again, right, it's like, it's really tough as a DB to just get thrown in there sporadically. Like, I remember being a DB coming off the bench cold and being like, dang, like my feet are cold. I haven't had the flow of the game. So, like I said, he can definitely play both ways if you put him in certain coverages. I would play a lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 4. Not to say he can't play man, but it's like if I'm trying to conserve energy, every DB is going to have a lot more energy when you're in a zone scheme, okay? And then just play man on certain situations like third and short, things like that, where, we got to lock up. But you see he's been killing it at receiver. You don't see a ton of footage from him playing DB, but from the footage I have seen, it is encouraging. I do think that he's going to be able to pull this off. How long? 17 games, not getting injured. I think that's up to the Jags. He took days off at Colorado at the college level. He took complete days off, but I mean, you don't have school, right? And he seems to love football. He's a football junkie. All right. And I would say like a big percentage, I don't know, 80% of playing DB is confidence. He's confident. So yeah, man, let me know in your comments how you would play him. Do you think he's going to be able to hold up? Do you think he's going to be able to shine at both positions? Is he going to get exposed? Should he only play receiver? Let me know in the comments what you think.